graduating class selects a president to represent them on this occasion. The 82nd Basic Session has chosen Trooper Daniel Paul Whitmore. Trooper Whitmore was born in Christiansburg, Virginia, February 17, 1964, and presently resides in Wythe County. He is the son of Gerald Chenault, a graduate of Fort Chiswell High School in Max Meadows, Virginia. He served as a military policeman, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and is currently enlisted in the Army Reserve as a drill sergeant. Trooper Whitmore also served as a patrolman for 2 years with the Whiteville Police Department. He was appointed trooper February 16, 1988, and served his conditional appointment in Washington County. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Trooper Daniel Paul Whitmore.
Justice Thomas, Colonel Southern, Captain Conklin, and the Academy staff, fellow troopers, distinguished guests, beloved family and friends. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to the members of the 82nd Basic Session for granting me the privilege of standing before you today as the spokesman for our class. On April 18th, we arrived here as a group of individuals with various personal histories. Over half the class is from Southwest Virginia. The other half is a mixture of metropolitan areas such as Chesapeake and Fairfax, and rural central communities like Amherst and Farmville. One member even hails from West Virginia. Before coming to the department, several of us attained college degrees, while others gained valuable work experience in fields ranging from food service to taxidermy, from land surveying to auto mechanics. But even with such diverse backgrounds, we all share a few common goals. First, we share the compelling desire to be a member of the finest state police organization in the country, the Virginia State Police. Second, an aspiration to protect the lives and property of the citizens of the Commonwealth. Third, a dream to rid our communities of drugs and other illegal activities. And last, we all share the inclination to help others in need. To achieve these goals, each member of this class must possess and exhibit unique characteristics. We must be willing to endure extended shifts in all kinds of weather. We will occasionally have to postpone our personal plans in order to answer a citizen's call for help. We must constantly be patient, understanding, and comforting. But these qualities alone aren't enough. For we also must acquire, maintain, and utilize specialized knowledge and skills. Since April 18th, we have strived to gain this information in a multitude of classes, ranging from criminal law to motor vehicle code, from rules of evidence to search and seizure, and from DUI statutes to officer survival. The training academy staff and instructors from the field have molded a group of individuals into a cohesive group of troopers. We thank you. Without your expertise and guidance, it would be impossible for us to function as Virginia State Troopers. We also thank our families. Without your patience and understanding, our training would have been unbearable. We realize the weeks we spent away from home were equally
Each of you are special guests. I wish, because of your relationship to the graduates this morning, and because of your support for a law enforcement agency that is dedicated to serving the public, I wish that I could introduce each one of you as individuals. That, of course, is impossible, but you are special guests. Welcome. I must, however, recognize a few people, though, that are in the audience this morning, because I think the rest of you would like to know that they are here. Mr. Douglas Gow, Special Agent in charge of the FBI, the Washington Metro Field Office. Mr. Gow, if you stand, and I'm going to keep you standing for a few minutes if you don't mind while I introduce a few other people, and then we'll give them a round of applause at the end of that time. I'm going to take an extra moment here because I think you will now see the cohesiveness that we have in law enforcement. Law enforcement is different, and we all recognize that. And it makes me feel so good to see the support from the federal and the state and the local levels that we can all be here together to get a job accomplished, that we can do so much better together. Mr. Terry O'Connor, the Special Agent in charge of FBI office here in Richmond. Mr. Bob Schaefer, Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI Malta. Colonel Joseph Pittman, Jr., the Chief of Police in Chesterfield County. Sheriff Clarence Dobson, the President of the Virginia State Sheriff's Association. Now, I know that there are a number of other people, Mr. John Jones, who is the Executive Director of the Virginia State Sheriff's Association. Would you stand down, please? I know that there are a number of other law enforcement people who are here today. With everyone else that is not with the state police, but in law enforcement, and I'm not talking about the retired members at this time of the state police either, but the other members of law enforcement, would you please stand? Any other members, please stand. Thank you. Dr. Paul Ferreira is here today with our forensic laboratory. And I'm not going to try to name the other people, but this just gives some example of the friends that we have in law enforcement today. Would you please give them a round of applause? Thank you. Please be seated, please. Now, it is, I'm very pleased that I found the other sheet of paper that was missing. And I want to ask Carl Miller, who is president of the Virginia State Police Association, to stand. And I want to ask two other very special guests, both of them who are retired sheriff from Allway County, and I'll let one of them continue sitting for obvious reasons. But Sheriff Harold Taylor is here, who was also a former trooper, and Sheriff Ben Dixon, who succeeded Sheriff Taylor. So I would like to recognize them at this time. Would you please give them a round of applause? It is most special to me to have so many C.R. Compton, our training officer, Lieutenant Z.B. Saunders Jr., our assistant training officer, Captain J.S. Connor, 5th Division, Chesapeake, Captain J.M. Jacobs, the 6th Division at Salem, Captain D.L. Collett, our 7th Division at Fairfax, and Captain Oriel Baumgartner, our Safety Division Commander. Would you please give them a hand? Another very special group are the spouses, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, the relatives and families of the graduates here today. You really are more special to us than in most other jobs across our great nation. You're special to us because we have to recognize that we do have different work. We have more stressful work. We have weekend work, different shifts. We have appointments that we must live by, and we can't afford to be 5 minutes late or even 1 minute late. We need you. These young troopers need you. They need your understanding and support. Thank you so much for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, special guests, family, friends, it is important for these graduates to feel the tremendous support by having every chair filled today and have a group of people standing in the back of the room. The few remarks that I will make will be addressed directly to the graduates here. Welcome to our law enforcement family. After 22 weeks of instruction, I'm sure that you are ready for today. I know that you're willing and that you're more than able to carry out your assignments. But your training, your knowledge, your growth in law enforcement is not over. It really is just beginning. It's the beginning of a career of learning, of self-improvement, of evaluating studies, court decisions, new laws and trends, as well as keeping up with changing technology and equipment. Our Constitution of the United States is one marvelous document that clearly outlines the powers of government and validates the freedoms that we cherish and enjoy. The freedom of activity, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, of education, and of occupation. Congress and our state legislature ought to supplement the Constitution and the Bill of Rights with the rules that are necessary to protect these precious rights. However, no matter how many laws are written or passed by our legislative bodies, they serve little purpose unless the people comply in a reasonably uniform manner. Our individual rights are based on the compliance of law. That is the social contract that individuals make with their government. There are those in our society who do not make that contract. They don't follow that contract. There are those that are determined to make their own rules and to infringe on the freedoms that are guaranteed to everyone else. Those of us in law enforcement and those of you who are graduating today are the ones who are the first line of defense. The first line of defense to get those people back in line a little bit if they break that social contract. Undoubtedly, and obviously things change every few years. I can't help but mention to you today that probably the biggest problem facing law enforcement in our communities and in our country today is the illegal use and abuse of narcotics. The United States, while only 5% of the world population, it has been estimated against the lawless. Number two, I challenge you to perform your best at all times. Don't be satisfied with mediocre execution of your duties. You will feel better for your accomplishments, you will enhance your career, and you will benefit the citizens of your community. Do your best. Number three, I challenge you to never deviate from the truth. The truth is the very foundation of law enforcement. Citizens expect us to act with honor and virtue. That taxes paid for law enforcement will be the first line of defense against the criminals, and they have a right to expect it. Speak the truth. Number four, I challenge you to serve with pride. The law enforcement profession is one that you can be proud of. It's one that you can get a lot accomplished. I challenge you to be neat and clean in your appearance and set an example 24 hours a day. And keep in mind, respect is earned. It is not mandated. Number five, be firm and persistent, but always courteous. Remember that you are a public servant. Stay sensitive to the needs of others. You have graduated with the knowledge to do your duty, but good judgment is developed over a period of years by listening to other people that you respect. Judgment is so important in the law enforcement officer's work. Number six, and last but by no means least, don't become complacent. Stay alert. Use your training to take precaution in your work. All aspects of it. It only takes a second's inattention or indecision where you can make a mistake that would be fatal to yourselves or to others. The dangers are many, but the rewards are truly great. I urge you to remember and to accept these challenges. You are the first line of defense. You make all the difference. You are the future. The image of law enforcement personnel everywhere is counting on you to preserve our foundation of freedom. Be proud of your chosen profession. Be proud of your uniform. Fulfill your duty with honor. Godspeed, congratulations, and thank you. And has already led a distinguished career in Virginia. A native of Norfolk, Justice Thomas graduated with honors from the Maury High School in that city. He was a student leader and a member of the National Honor Society. As an undergraduate at the University of Virginia, Justice Thomas was appointed co-chairman of the National Task Force on Education for the 1971 White House Youth Conference. During his last 2 summers as an undergraduate, he worked as a television newsman for the CBS affiliate in Norfolk. Justice Thomas graduated with distinction with a degree in government and was accepted at the law school at the university. Among his other activities, Justice Thomas was a member and treasurer of the Raven Society, one of the university's most prestigious honorary societies, and was appointed to the board of the Fund for the Improvement of the Post-Secondary Education by the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. In 1975, he joined the prestigious law firm of Hunton & Williams as an associate. He was made a partner in 1982. In April of 1983, Justice Thomas' life took another dramatic turn. Governor Charles Robb appointed him as the first black and the youngest person in history to sit on the Supreme Court of Virginia. His appointment was ratified by a unanimous vote in both houses of the General Assembly the following year. His honors and awards have been many, including an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from Virginia State University. As you can see, Justice Thomas is a pioneer and a man of
Governor, Lieutenant Colonel Covello, the other distinguished leaders of the Virginia State Police, distinguished platform guests, retirees, ladies and gentlemen, and this 82nd class from the Virginia State Police Academy, I tell you thank you for having me here to participate in this important event and milestone in your lives. All of you who sit before me today have successfully completed a rigorous course of training and studying which was designed to find out whether you were physically, mentally, emotionally, and morally prepared to serve the Commonwealth of Virginia as one of our troopers. Not everyone who started out with you in your class finished as you did. Not everyone who desires to wear the uniform you wear is fit to wear the uniform you wear. You are here because you fit the mold of Virginia's best. You are not ordinary people in an ordinary job. You are a select group of Virginians with a special mission. You are an elite corps called upon by the rest of us to stand between chaos and to promote harmony. As you embark upon your career, it is well for us to pause at this moment and to reflect upon where you fit in the great scheme of things. You have often heard it said, I am sure, that in America we are a nation of laws and not of men. That familiar phrase means that long ago, we as a people decided that we would not be subject to the whim or caprice of any king or queen or individual ruler. We decided that we would not be governed by an all-powerful individual who would tell us what to do and where to go and what taxes to pay and how to live our lives based on how they felt at the moment. We rejected that. We concluded long ago as part of the basic philosophy of our nation that in order for us to reach our full human potential and in order for our society to be as free and as open and as rich in rewards as possible, in order to be all these things, we decided that we had to make law supreme in the United States. Now, what might you ask, does all this have to do with you? How does this judge come before you and talk about the philosophy of government when you are trained to be people of action? Why do I stop now to make you think about your role and where you fit in the great scheme of things when you have to make split-second decisions that people like me get to look at over? Because as we recite that we are a society of laws and not men, somebody ought to stand up and say, well, if that's so, then the law must be enforced in order for our society to be preserved. In a society where law is paramount, where the rule of law is relied upon to sustain the blessings of liberty, the law must be enforced. To put it another way, if you have a law and you never enforce the law, you may as well have no law at all. To put it another way still, if you have a law and you left it up to the law enforcement officers to enforce it sometime if they felt like it on Monday and not enforce it if they didn't feel like it on Saturday night, then you would be leaving the rule of society to the individual again. The thing that we rejected in America a long time ago. Because we are a society of law, and because we have decided as a part of our basic fabric of government that this is the way to make us free, you become critical to our survival. You help to exercise the greatest power known to government. And people who talk about government divide the powers of government into various categories. For example, at the federal level, you hear of the war power, and the treaty power, and the commerce power, and various other powers, the power to print money, the power to tax, the power to spend money. And at the state level, you have some of those same powers, the taxation power, and the power over property, and the power with regard to education. But every theorist, every thinker about government says that the greatest, most awesome power known to any government in America is the police power. Now, the police power is not just the power to enforce law. The police power in its general confines is the power that lets the government take care of the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens. It doesn't just have to do with enforcing speeding laws. It doesn't just have to do with enforcing other criminal laws. It's broader even than that. It's a power so great that it says the government can use that power to lead people in the morally correct way. We can stand up in the government and say, I'm going to exercise the police power to show our children what is right and wrong. You are involved in a very, very awesome thing. The thing about the police power is that it's so great that it could destroy all the powers. It is the most intrusive power that the government has. The police power lets the government break down your door and drag you out of bed at night if the government says you have done wrong or committed a crime. The police power is awesome. You could be on your way to church in the morning and the government said this person has done wrong and there's a warrant for it, and the police power can snatch you right out of your car, carry you downtown, put handcuffs on you, lock you up, and make you wait on the processes of government to see if you can be released. This is an awesome power that you are custodians of already. And so, with this great awesomeness, we can't entrust it to just anybody, can we? And so we turn to you. And we turn to your rigorous training that taught you to be careful, thoughtful people, to respect the nation and society that you live in, to be sensitive to the needs of our very order in life, to pay attention not to take that power you have and use it in such a brute way that instead of upholding Virginia, you break Virginia down. You have been taught to be courteous and thoughtful in your work. And I know that this exists throughout the state troopers in Virginia because from time to time I'm transported about the state and I never cease to be pleased with the courtesy that I see among our troopers. I never cease to be pleased with the way I see them concerned about community involvement and getting young people in the schools to see you as role models about how you ought to live your life in Virginia. And so as I come to the conclusion of my remarks, I want you to remember when you leave this place that we have entrusted to you a part of the most awesome power known to government. And that as you leave this place, that you must be a decisive and authoritative individual. You must have dignity and discipline in what you do. You must be a moral leader. You must lead not just because you have the power of the law behind you, but because you earn the respect that the Colonel talked about by the way you carry yourself and the way you live your life. I am certain that you are going to go on to uphold the great traditions that make our Commonwealth a shining example of liberty, not just today, but from the beginning. America was born in Virginia. And the principles that pervade the nation and the Western world were born in Virginia. In Virginia, we do it right, and you are a part of that great exercise of freedom and liberty and justice and the right way of doing things. I salute you.
Thank you for your message this morning. A great message and I'm most appreciative. Thank you.
Colonel Southern, certain members of the 82nd Basic Session have distinguished themselves in selected areas of their training This time, I recommend you recognize each of them by presenting an award for their individual achievements. The first award will be for class president, and that award goes to Trooper D.P. Whitmore. The Scholastic Achievement Award is for the highest academic grade point average. That award goes to Trooper S.L. Cooper. Trooper Cooper had a grade point average of 98.23. Our Physical Fitness Award in the male category goes to Trooper S.W. Lambert. The Physical Fitness Award in the female category goes to Trooper C.S. Sensabaugh. The Firearms Award for the highest firearms score, and this trophy was provided by the Virginia State Police Association. The award goes to Trooper N.F. Johnson. Trooper Johnson scored a 100 out of a possible 100. Colonel Southern, the members of the graduating class have satisfactorily completed the basic course of instruction. The Academy staff, Lieutenant Saunders and I recommend that you present them with diplomas to acknowledge the satisfactory completion of the State Police Basic Training Program. Cecil Samuel Anderson.